Sometimes the most powerful journey is the one you take alone. It's not loneliness, it's liberation. It's not escape, it's discovery. Walking alone doesn't make you weak, it makes you unstoppable. In a world that constantly pushes us to seek validation, fit in, and follow the crowd, there is a rare breed of individuals who choose to walk alone. They are not running from life, they are running towards something greater. They understand that true strength is born not from the applause of others, but from the quiet confidence that comes with standing on your own 2 feet. To walk alone is to step into the unknown with nothing but faith and a relentless desire to become more. It's not about rejection, it's about self-discovery. It's about finding clarity in the chaos, peace in the storm, and strength in silence. In the solitude, you find your purpose, your passion, and your true potential. The road may be lonely, but it is also where your greatest growth happens. It's where the most profound transformation takes place, when you learn to rely on your own spirit, trust your own voice, and own your own journey. Walking alone isn't for the faint of heart, but for those who dare to dream bigger, reach higher, and live a life that is entirely their own. This is the power of solitude. This is the power of choosing yourself. The power of solitude, embracing the journey within in a world that thrives on noise, connection, and constant distractions. Solitude is often misunderstood. It's seen as loneliness or isolation, a condition to be avoided at all costs. But in truth, solitude holds a hidden power, a transformative force that can guide us to our highest potential. The power of solitude is not in the absence of others, but in the presence of yourself. When you embrace solitude, you are not simply escaping from the world, you are stepping into a world of deeper understanding. It is in these moments of quiet reflection that the greatest discoveries about yourself are made. Alone, you are free from the pressures of society, free from the weight of expectations, and free from the judgments of others. You can finally hear the whispers of your heart, the call of your true purpose. Solitude is a teacher, and its lessons are profound. The first lesson it teaches is self-awareness. When we are surrounded by others, we often lose sight of who we really are. We become what others expect of us, what the world tells us to be. But when you are alone, you are forced to face yourself, your dreams, your fears, your flaws. There is nowhere to hide. In this space, you can finally begin to understand the depth of your own soul. Self-reflection is a mirror. It shows you not only your strengths, but also your weaknesses, your insecurities, and your potential for growth. Instead of running from these parts of yourself, solitude teaches you to embrace them. It is here in the stillness that you learn how to turn your wounds into wisdom, your pain into purpose. Solitude is not just a place to escape. It is a place to heal. In solitude, you are given the gift of clarity. The world is full of noise, opinions, demands, and distractions pulling you in every direction. In the quiet, the fog begins to clear, and you can finally see what truly matters. The voices that once drowned out your own desires, dreams, and aspirations are silenced. You hear the gentle, steady pulse of your heart, guiding you toward what is meaningful. You begin to hear your own voice again. But there is another powerful gift in solitude: self-reliance. The world teaches us that we need others to succeed, that we cannot achieve greatness without help. But the truth is, you have everything within you to create the life you desire. When you walk alone, you learn to trust yourself, to rely on your own instincts, your own strength, and your own ability to rise above challenges. Walking alone is not weakness. It is courage in action. It takes immense strength to choose your own path, especially when the world encourages conformity. It takes courage to stand tall, to hold your ground, and to walk forward even when no one is walking with you. In solitude, you discover a resilience you never knew existed. You learn that the strength you seek is not outside of you. It is within you, waiting to be unlocked. As you walk this path of solitude, you will also discover freedom. Freedom from the expectations of others. Freedom from the need to please, to fit in, or to follow the crowd. Solitude allows you to break free from the constraints that society places on you. It is here that you realize you are not bound by the limitations of the world, but by the power of your own mind and spirit. You are free to make choices that align with your true self. You are free to live a life that is authentic, untainted by the judgments and opinions of others. In solitude, you Discover that your worth does not depend on anyone else's approval. It comes from within. Solitude is a powerful teacher, but only if you are willing to listen. It teaches you to trust yourself, to find strength in stillness, and to uncover the layers of your true essence. In these moments of quiet, you can build a life that is uniquely yours, a life shaped by your own dreams, values, and purpose. So if you ever find yourself alone, don't fear it, don't see it as loneliness, see it as an invitation to reconnect with the deepest parts of yourself, to find the answers you've been searching for, and to build the life you were always meant to live. Embrace solitude, for in it, you will find your truest self, your greatest strength, and your most authentic path forward. In solitude, you are not lost, you are simply becoming self-discovery through silence, finding strength in being alone in the hustle and bustle of life, where everyone is constantly speaking, moving, and chasing after something. Silence becomes a rare commodity. We are taught to be busy, to stay connected, to constantly be engaged with the world around us. But what if the answers to our deepest questions, the strength to overcome our greatest challenges, and the power to unlock our potential could only be found in the stillness? True self-discovery begins in the silence. It is in these moments of quiet that the world fades away and we are left with nothing but ourselves. In silence, we can hear our thoughts more clearly, feel our emotions more deeply, and recognize the whispers of our soul that often get drowned out by the noise of everyday life. Silence has the power to strip away the distractions and reveal the truth about who we really are. When we are alone, we are no longer seeking approval from others, no longer trying to fit into the molds that society has created for us. We are free to be ourselves, without apology, without fear. It is in this freedom that we begin to see ourselves clearly, not as the world sees us, but as we truly are. We begin to realize our strengths, our weaknesses, our fears, and our potential. We discover the raw, authentic version of ourselves that has always been buried beneath layers of expectation. Self-discovery through silence is a journey inward. It is not about escaping the world or running from your problems, but about turning inward and facing the truth of who you are. The silence forces you to confront your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities. It challenges you to look at the parts of yourself you have been avoiding and embrace them. In silence, we learn to understand our emotions without judgment. Give ourselves permission to feel deeply, whether it's pain, joy, or everything in between. We no longer numb ourselves with distractions, but instead allow ourselves to fully experience the spectrum of human emotions. And in doing so, we learn to heal, to grow, and to evolve. It is in silence that we begin to forgive ourselves, to release the shame, guilt, and regret that have held us captive for so long. Silence is the birthplace of strength. It is in the quiet moments of reflection that we discover the resilience within us. When there is no one else to rely on, we learn that we are enough. We begin to trust ourselves, to believe in our ability to overcome any obstacle, to rise above any challenge. In solitude, we find a quiet confidence that comes from knowing that we have the power to shape our own destiny. When we are constantly surrounded by others, it is easy to lose sight of our own voice. The opinions of others can drown out our own inner wisdom, making it difficult to know what we truly want or believe. But in silence, our voice becomes clear. We no longer need the validation of others because we know, deep within, what is right for us. We begin to make decisions that are aligned with our true selves, not based on what others expect from us. In this silence, we find clarity. Silence is also where we learn to trust the process of life. In the stillness, we realize that everything happens for a reason. We see the beauty in the struggles, the lessons in the pain, and the growth in the setbacks. We understand that even in moments of silence and solitude, we are not alone. We are connected to the universe, to something much greater than ourselves. The silence allows us to surrender to the flow of life, trusting that everything is unfolding as it should. Strength that comes from silence is not the strength of the body, but the strength of the soul. It is the strength to stand alone, to trust in your own journey, and to be unapologetically you. It is the strength to face your deepest fears, your greatest challenges, and your darkest moments without Backing down, in silence, we find the courage to rise, to push forward, and to step into the person we were always meant to be. So if you ever find yourself in a moment of silence, don't fear it. Embrace it. Use it as an opportunity to discover who you truly are, to tap into the strength within you, and to hear the whispers of your soul. The journey of self-discovery is not a journey outward, it is a journey inward, and it is through silence that we begin to uncover the powerful, unstoppable force that resides within each of us. Remember, in the silence, you are never truly alone. You are simply rediscovering the greatest companion you will ever have, the person you were always meant to be. The courage to walk alone. Why independence fuels growth in life. There comes a moment when you must choose. Stay in the comfort of the crowd or venture off on your own path. It takes an extraordinary amount of courage to walk alone, to break away from the safety of familiar faces and step into the unknown. But it is in this very act of walking alone that true growth begins. It's not about rejecting the world around you. It's about choosing to trust yourself, to have faith in your own ability to carve out a life that is uniquely yours. Walking alone does not mean being isolated. It doesn't mean cutting yourself off from the world or running away from responsibility. It means standing tall in your own power, owning your choices, and stepping forward with a deep belief in yourself. When you walk alone, you are not lost. You are simply choosing to trust your own direction, and with that trust comes an unparalleled sense of freedom. Independence fuels growth because it forces you to face yourself. In a world that constantly demands that we conform, that we follow the crowd, walking alone is an act of defiance, an act of strength. It is the strength to resist the pull of societal expectations, the strength to silence the voices that try to dictate who you should be. Walking alone is the bold declaration that you will live life on your terms, not anyone else's. In solitude, you are given the rare opportunity to connect with your true self, without the influence of other people's opinions, needs, or desires. When you walk alone, there's no one else to rely on but you. There's no one else to blame for your failures, no one else to take credit for your successes. It's all you, and that truth can be both empowering and terrifying. But it is only in this space, where you are forced to rely solely on yourself, that you begin to discover the vast well of strength that resides within you. You realize that you are capable of more than you ever thought possible. You discover a resilience that you never knew existed. You begin to recognize that all along, you've had the tools to succeed, the ability to rise above, and the courage to face challenges head on. When you walk alone, you learn just how strong you really are. In the silence of solitude, you also gain something invaluable: clarity. In the noise of the world, it's easy to get lost. We become distracted by the opinions of others, by the constant pressure to do more, be more, and have more. But when you choose to walk alone, you create space for your thoughts, your dreams, and your heart to speak clearly. You begin to see your life with a new perspective, free from the clutter of external influences. Independence nurtures self-reliance. It teaches you to trust your instincts, your judgment, and your decisions. When you rely on others, there is always a chance that you will feel the sting of disappointment, that someone will let you down, or that you'll be left behind. But when you walk alone, you give yourself the responsibility and the power to create your own destiny. You begin to realize that the only person you need to rely on to make your dreams come true is you. There is also a beauty in the freedom that comes with walking alone. The world can sometimes feel like it's pulling us in 1,000 different directions. Expectations, responsibilities, and obligations can weigh heavily on our shoulders. But when you walk alone, you shed those burdens. You are free to follow your passions, to make choices that align with your values, and to live life on your terms. Independence gives you the courage to break free from the chains that hold you back, to release the fear that keeps you stuck, and to move forward in pursuit of your own happiness. It's easy to look at someone walking alone and assume that they are lonely, or that they are somehow less than those surrounded by others. But the truth is, those who walk alone have often found something that others are still searching for: the strength to embrace their own journey. They understand that life isn't about pleasing others, fitting in, or following the crowd. It's about discovering who you are, what you stand for, and what you are willing to fight for. Walking alone doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger. It takes immense courage to stand apart from the crowd, to take the road less traveled, to follow your own path even when it feels uncertain. But with every step you take, you become more grounded in who you are. You discover your own worth, your own power, and your own voice, and in that, you unlock a potential you may have never known existed. If you ever find yourself standing alone, remember this: you are not lost, you are simply finding your way. Trust the process, trust that every step you take alone is a step toward the person you are meant to become, and know that in walking alone, you are not abandoning the world. You are discovering the most important relationship of all, the one you have with yourself. Breaking free from validation. Walking your path without fear, there comes a time in every person's life when they must make a choice: to continue living for the approval of others or to break free and walk their own path. It's a choice between living authentically or becoming a reflection of everyone else's expectations. The courage to walk your path without fear of judgment is one of the most empowering decisions you will ever make. The desire for validation is deeply ingrained in human nature. From childhood, we are taught to seek approval from those around us, to gain acceptance from our parents, our friends, our peers, and society as a whole. We grow up with the belief that our worth is determined by how others perceive us. But here's the truth that many never learn until later in life: you will never find true happiness in the approval of others. Real fulfillment comes from within, from the knowledge that you are living in alignment with your own truth, not someone else's version of who you should be. Breaking free from validation starts with the realization that your worth is not up for debate. You don't need permission to be who you are, to follow your dreams, or to live a life that feels true to you. Your value is inherent. It's not something you need to earn, prove, or seek from others. When you stop seeking validation, you open the door to something far more powerful: the freedom to be yourself, and that freedom is where your true power lies. One of the greatest hurdles we face in this pursuit of freedom is fear. Fear of rejection, fear of criticism, fear of being judged. We all want to be liked, to be accepted, to fit in. But when we live for the approval of others, we are constantly at the mercy of external forces. Our peace of mind becomes contingent on what others think, and that is a dangerous way to live. The truth is, not everyone will understand or approve of your path, and that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay, it's a sign that you are doing something right. The more you walk your own path, the more you'll discover that the people who truly matter are the ones who support you for who you are, not for who they want you to be. When you stop living for validation, you free yourself from the invisible chains that bind you. No longer will you find yourself shrinking, second guessing, or altering your decisions just to fit into someone else's idea of success or happiness. You will stand tall in the certainty that your choices are your own. You will trust yourself enough to know that you are worthy of the life you are creating, regardless of who approves of it. Walking your path without fear requires a radical shift in mindset. It means embracing the fact that not everyone will understand your journey, and that's perfectly okay. In fact, some of the most significant change makers, visionaries, and trailblazers throughout history have been the ones who dared to walk alone, who refused to conform to societal norms. They faced resistance, criticism, and doubt, but they also forged new paths, created new possibilities, and inspired generations. Your journey doesn't need to be understood by everyone. It only needs to be understood by you. The most beautiful part of this journey of breaking free from validation is self-empowerment. Once you release the need for approval, you step into your full potential. You begin to live with purpose, with intention, and with clarity. You no longer waste energy worrying about how others perceive you. Instead, you focus on how you perceive yourself, and that makes all the difference. Living without fear of validation also means taking risks, the kind of risks that lead to personal growth. When you stop asking for permission to follow your dreams, you become unstoppable. You take the leap even when the ground beneath you is uncertain, knowing that you have the strength to rise again if you fall. You begin to see every failure, every setback as a lesson, a stepping stone, not a reflection of your worth. Here's the truth: validation can be fleeting. It can come and go, and it can never truly fill the empty spaces within us. What can fill those spaces is the quiet confidence that comes with walking your own path, trusting your own decisions, and standing firm in your truth. When you live for yourself and no one else, you become unshakable. You stop living in fear of judgment, and you start living with purpose. So, how do you begin this journey of breaking free? The first step is to look inward, to ask yourself what truly matters to you. What do you want from life? What dreams do you have that you've been too afraid to pursue because of what others might think? When you answer those questions, begin to act on them. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the stars to align or for the right circumstances to show up. Take that first step toward the life you truly want, even if no one else understands it. You will be amazed at how empowering that feels. The power of walking your own path without fear of validation is that you will find your truest, most authentic self. You will tap into a well of strength that you never knew existed. You will see opportunities where others see obstacles. And most importantly, you will feel the kind of fulfillment that comes from living a life on your own terms. Let go of the need for approval and watch yourself blossom into the person you were always meant to be. The world will always have opinions. The question is, will you let those opinions dictate your life? Or will you rise above them, walk confidently, and live the life you were always meant to create? The choice is yours. Break free from validation and step into your power. The world is waiting for you to shine. Transforming loneliness into liberation, how solitude shapes your purpose in a world that constantly tells us that connection is the ultimate goal. There is an overlooked truth. Solitude is not something to be feared, it is something to be embraced. Loneliness has often been seen as a burden, something to escape or hide from. We dread it, avoid it, and fill our lives with distractions to push it away. But what if, instead of fearing loneliness, we saw it as an opportunity for transformation, self-discovery, and growth? What if solitude in all its stillness is the very key to unlocking your deepest potential? Solitude is not the same as loneliness. Loneliness is the absence of connection, but solitude is the choice to be alone with yourself, to reconnect with your deepest truth. It's in these quiet moments, when the world fades away and you are left alone with your thoughts, that you begin to hear the voice of your soul. In solitude, you find clarity. You discover what truly matters to you, what you're meant to do, and the purpose that has always been simmering beneath the surface, waiting for the right moment to rise. The power of solitude is that it forces you to confront yourself, your dreams, your fears, your desires, and your limitations. In the hustle and bustle of daily life, it's easy to lose track of who we are and what we truly want. But when you are alone with no distractions or external influences, you are forced to face your inner world. And in that space of silence, you begin to hear the quiet whispers of your purpose. You begin to understand the things that excite you, the passions that stir your heart, and the dreams that have been lying dormant inside of you. Many people run from loneliness because they don't want to face the discomfort of being alone with their thoughts. But it's in that discomfort that true growth happens. Solitude is where you can break free from the noise of the world and begin to listen to the voice that truly matters, the voice of your own heart. In this space, you can discover who you truly are, not who the world has told you to be. When we allow ourselves to be alone, we stop relying on others for validation. We stop seeking external approval and begin to validate ourselves from within. In the quiet of solitude, you realize that you are enough just as you are. You begin to trust your own instincts, your own decisions, and your own worth. No longer do you need the approval of others to feel complete. You find wholeness in your own presence, and this self-validation becomes the foundation of your strength and confidence. Solitude is also where we find the courage to reflect on our past, learn from our mistakes, and decide where we want to go next. Life's setbacks and struggles often leave scars, but in the silence of solitude, we can process those experiences, heal, and emerge stronger. When you are alone, you have the time and space to confront the things that hold you back, your fears, your doubts, your insecurities, and turn them into fuel for growth. Solitude teaches you that you are not defined by your past, but by your ability to rise above it. One of the most profound gifts of solitude is that it teaches you independence, the ability to stand on your own, to rely on yourself, and to chart your own course in life. When you are alone, you are responsible for your own happiness, your own well-being, and your own future. And in this responsibility, you find your power. You stop waiting for others to tell you what to do, and you start making decisions based on your own values, your own vision, and your own purpose. But solitude is not just about self-discovery, it is also about creation. It is in these quiet moments that we tap into our creative potential. When we are constantly surrounded by noise, we can't hear the ideas and inspiration that lie within us. But in solitude, our creativity flourishes. We begin to see new possibilities, think in new ways, and approach life from a different perspective. In solitude, you give birth to the ideas, dreams, and goals that will shape your future. Solitude also teaches us to embrace the present moment. In the quiet, we learn to let go of the past and stop worrying about the future. We learn to focus on the here and now, to savor the peace and contentment that comes from being fully present in the moment. Solitude is where we learn to be at peace with who we are right now, without the need for validation, approval, or external recognition. It is in this peace that we begin to realize that our worth is not based on what we achieve or how others perceive us. It comes from simply being. So, if you ever find yourself in a place of loneliness or solitude, don't see it as something negative. See it as a gift, a time of reflection, growth, and self-discovery. Embrace it. Allow it to shape you into the person you are meant to be. In the stillness, you will find your purpose, you will find your strength, and you will find the courage to walk the path that is uniquely yours. Remember, solitude is not the absence of connection. It is the connection to your deepest self. It is where you will discover the power, clarity, and direction that you've been seeking. In solitude, you are not lost. You are simply being guided toward the life you were always meant to live.